You're walking into a room you've never been in before, and suddenly you know it. You know where the door is before you turn your head. You know what someone is about to say before they say it. Your whole body tells you, I've done this before. But you haven't. Not once. So what just happened? That feeling has a name. Déjà vu. French for already seen. And for most of human history, nobody could explain it. People blamed ghosts, past lives, glitches in the universe. Some still do. But here's the strange part. Déjà vu isn't rare, and it isn't mystical. Most people experience it. Studies suggest somewhere between 60 and 80% of people have felt it at least once. It shows up most in your teens and 20s, then quietly fades as you get older. So if it's this common, why does it feel so impossible? Because your brain is doing something it almost never lets you see. It's showing you its own machinery, mid-glitch. Let's start with what déjà vu is not. It's not a memory. You didn't actually visit that room before. Researcher Anne Cleary, who runs one of the leading déjà vu labs at Colorado State University, has spent years testing this directly. She builds virtual environments in the lab, has people walk through them, then shows them new scenes that share a spatial layout with something they saw earlier, but not the same content. And people report déjà vu, not because they remember the scene, because the layout feels familiar, even when the details don't match anything they can point to. That's the first clue. Déjà vu isn't about the moment, it's about the shape of the moment. Think about it like this. Your brain doesn't store memories as photographs. It stores them more like blueprints, the furniture in the room, the angle of the light, the way the space is arranged. So if you walk into a new room and its layout loosely matches a room you saw years ago, one you don't consciously remember at all, your brain can register a match. A pattern lines up. And when a pattern lines up, your brain sends you a signal. Seen this before. Except this time, the signal is wrong. Or more precisely, the signal is right, but the label is wrong. Here's where it gets interesting. Psychologist Alan Brown at Southern Methodist University has spent decades cataloging déjà vu research. And one theory he's explored is what's sometimes called a memory mismatch, a moment where your brain's familiarity system fires before your recollection system catches up. Familiarity and recollection are actually two separate processes in your brain. Familiarity is fast. It's the gut feeling that something is known. Recollection is slower. It's the part that can tell you where and when you knew it. Most of the time, they move together. You feel familiarity, and a second later, your brain hands you the source. This is my street. This is my coworker. This is the song from that summer. But sometimes they get out of sync. The familiarity signal fires, strong and immediate, and the source, the where and when, never arrives. Your brain is left holding a feeling with no explanation attached. And a feeling with no explanation is unsettling. So your mind reaches for the nearest story that fits. I must have seen this before. Somewhere. Somehow. You didn't. Your brain just skipped a step. There's a neurological piece to this too, and some of the clearest evidence comes from an unlikely place. Epilepsy research. Neuroscientist Akira O'Connor at the University of St. Andrews has studied patients whose seizures begin in the temporal lobe, and many of them report intense déjà vu right before a seizure starts. That's because the temporal lobe, especially areas involved in memory, can misfire in ways that mimic exactly this, a rush of false familiarity with no real memory behind it. O'Connor's team has even triggered déjà vu-like sensations in healthy volunteers using word association tasks, ones designed to activate a "have I heard this before?" feeling without an actual memory to back it up. The volunteers get the eerie sense of recognition anyway, which tells you something important. You don't need a past experience to feel like you're having one. You just need your brain's checking system to fire at the wrong moment. So here's what might actually be happening when déjà vu hits you. Your brain has a kind of quality control system, one job of which is to check incoming experiences against memory and flag anything that seems duplicated. Most of the time, this system runs silently in the background. You never notice it because it never has to raise an alarm. But every so often, it misfires. It flags something as a repeat that isn't one. And for 2 or 3 unsettling seconds, you're stuck in the gap between that alarm and reality, unable to explain what your brain is telling you. Which raises a genuinely unnerving question. If your brain can convince you with total confidence that you've lived through a moment you're only now experiencing for the first time, how much do you actually trust the feeling of, "I know this"? How many of your certainties about people, about places, about your own past are built on a signal that's occasionally just wrong? Most of the time, this doesn't matter. A déjà vu moment passes in seconds, and you shrug it off. But the mechanism behind it is a quiet reminder that your sense of familiar isn't some pure readout of the truth. It's a system, built for speed, tuned to flag patterns fast, and like any fast system, it sometimes trips over nothing at all. There's actually something almost comforting hiding inside that idea. Déjà vu isn't evidence that something is broken in you, or that you're peering through a crack into another life. It's evidence that your brain is working exactly the way it's supposed to, constantly comparing the present to the past at a speed you're not even aware of. Once in a while, the comparison glitches. That's all. A pattern-matching machine, running so fast in the background of your mind, occasionally trips its own alarm. So next time it happens, next time you walk into a room and your whole body insists you've been there before, you'll know what's actually going on. Not a memory, not a past life, just your brain, quietly checking its own work, and for one strange electric second, getting the answer wrong.